Reverend Kate Lohr, we are so glad you're with us today because she is, for 17 years, she's led the First Unitarian Church's social justice program. And I just read this yesterday. She doesn't talk about any of these things, but in 2013, she received an award from the NAACP and from the Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon for her leadership in social justice. And she led a contingent of UUs last summer to Washington, D.C. for the People's Climate March. So we're so happy that she's here in our town, Reverend Kate Lohr.
Thank you, Emily, who in herself is a great leader of our environmental group. Would you hold that sign for me? When residents in the Quebec town of Lac-Mégantic described the scene after the oil train derailed and then exploded there 2 years ago, they said that the burning petroleum was like a wall of fire, or a river of fire. The blaze, which burned for 36 hours, sent flames and smokes hundreds of feet into the air. At one point, the fire was pulling in so much oxygen that the trees were blowing around as if there was a tropical storm. That's how intense it was. You should probably know the explosions and fire destroyed some 40 buildings and killed 47 people. We hold their names today. Most of these folks were enjoying live music at a popular cafe. Now, wooden homes along the lakeshore burned from the inside out as the fire erupted out of the water pipes, drains, and sewers, and a 48-inch storm pipe that runs from the train yard to a nearby river became a conduit for this dirty fossil fuel, spewing flames and oil for more than a half of a mile into the river. It was a tragedy of incredible magnitude, bringing untold suffering to the friends and family of these people and to all of the beings in the nature that surrounds this area. And that's why we're here today, to mourn these losses still deeply felt after 2 years since the quote-unquote accident. But it really wasn't an accident, was it? It was a preventable disaster. You see, the oil moving through Lac-Mégantic was mislabeled. It was labeled as a packing group 3 instead of a packing group 2 or 1, which refers to much more dangerous substances with lower flash points. And the train was carrying the most volatile oil to be had, oil from the Bracken Shale fracking fields. Moreover, a hazardous materials inspection team had issued safety warnings about these oil trains back in 2011 and 2012, but no changes have been made to the tank cars since then. Even as federal regulators discuss new safety measures, updating or retrofitting the standard petroleum tank cars, reducing train speeds near towns, and performing spot inspections of oil trains continue to roll through towns and cities across the United States and Canada. In fact, instead of reducing the train loads until proper safety methods can be put into place, the quantity of oil being shipped by rail across North America has been increasing dramatically. And yes, most of it is this same hyper volatile oil that killed our brothers and sisters to the north. According to the American Association of Railroads, there were 9,500 rail cars carrying crude oil in 2008. Now there are close to 500,000 of them shipping oil in outdated cars on tracks that are rarely inspected and through towns and cities ill-equipped to deal with disaster. It comes as no surprise then that since the Lac-Mégantic disaster there have been a string of oil train collisions and derailments with no sign of abatement. Oil trains continue to pass through major cities, small towns, and national parks. Public safety is clearly being trumped by fossil fuel profiteering. Now, oil companies know their days are numbered, but they want to make as much profit as possible, no matter how many lives are sacrificed, no matter how many ecosystems are destroyed. And so they do it without any public input, and in many cases, even our emergency response teams don't know when they're coming through. But today, we are here to say that this has got to stop. 10 to 12 oil trains are coming through the Pacific Northwest every day. It's just a matter of time before we have our own disaster, unless we stop these trains. We, the people, need a moratorium on new oil train infrastructure. And we, the people, in honor of all these lives that we see today, we need to stop the fossil fuel industry, and we have got to stop these trains. So in closing, I would ask that you just take a moment to enter that place of deep reverence. Some of you know it as meditation. Some of you know it as prayer. O Spirit of life and future generations, we recognize that the stakes are very high. We understand that power concedes nothing without a demand. And so we ask that you make us strong enough to confront the threats we now face, strong enough to maintain our hope and our fortitude, strong enough to remember that we are not isolated beings but held together in mystery and miracle by the web of life. Be with us now and forevermore. Amen.
Going to have Bonnie McKinley speak next, read a letter from a resident of the town, Lac-Mégantic. And Bonnie has been an inspiration to many of us here. She's been the leader of the KXL group and one of the founding members of the Climate Action Coalition that is sponsoring today's event. Bonnie?
Thank you all for coming to today's commemoration. I'm going to read a letter from Jacques Gangong. He's a mechanic of Lac-Mégantic, and he, as you know, mechanics are very concerned about the way things work, and he is too, and he's a very keen observer of how the oil trains and the industry is working. Here's his letter. Greetings to all. During the week to commemorate the railroad tragedy in Lac-Mégantic, I want to send greetings to all those who struggle to reduce the use of fossil fuels, particularly to those who work to stop the bomb trains. I want to speak to the situation in Lac-Mégantic. 2 years after the derailment of the MMA train, our downtown still resembles a battlefield. All the buildings that were saved on the night of July 6, 2013 were demolished this winter. The immense trenches that were dug still contain soil contaminated by crude oil. Train service was the first thing to come back to normal here. Our observations have shown that the state of the rails is still unacceptable. The CMQ company that owns the rail line that runs from Montreal, Quebec to St. John's, New Brunswick, recently improved the situation by having the propane trains reduce their speed to 10 kilometers per hour when they were coming through our town. The municipal government has proposed a reconstruction plan that divides the population so that the most beautiful places are reserved for commercial tourism. In any case, the struggle continues. I want to thank all those in America who continue the work of resistance. I am especially pleased to see that the First Nations are involved in this struggle. Theirs is a very important force. I look forward to the great success of the multiple actions that have been organized around this vital cause. On the 5th of July, we will march to stop the oil trains coming to Lac-Mégantic. We will march to affirm our disagreement with the restart of the transportation of Bakken crude oil that is scheduled to begin in 2016. Solidarity, Jacques Congan, citizens, Lac-Mégantic region.
Thank you, Bonnie. And now I'd like to introduce Jana Gabar, who is a Dharma teacher in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. She's been our bell ringer today, and she's going to provide us some of the celebration of the dead ceremony from the Buddhist tradition.
So friends, we'll start with a bell, and then we'll offer some words from the Buddha. Ceremony for the Deceased by the Buddha, translated by Thich Nhat Hanh. Can you hear me? Today we gather to invoke the Buddha, to make offerings, and to transfer the merits of 47 individuals on the second anniversary of the day of their decease. We ask all present here to listen with a quiet mind. Taking a breath in, all together, please. With a feeling of calm, clarity, and peace, we will make possible the calm, clarity, and peace of those who have left this life. Please join your palms together, if possible, and bow to the earth in this moment. With our hearts we go for refuge, turning to the Buddha, the awakened one of the 10 directions. Sincerely, we recognize this day errors that have been committed and mistakes that have been made, wrong judgments. We invite forth the balm of clear water to pour on the roots of all afflicted. Please bring the raft of the true teachings to carry us all over the ocean of sorrows. May all live an awakened life. May we practice smiling and conscious breathing. May we live in mindfulness. We breathe in and we come back to live in the wonderful present moment, to plant our heart's garden with good seeds, and to make strong foundations of understanding and love. We vow to train ourselves in mindfulness and concentration, practicing to look and understand deeply, to be able to see the nature of all that is, and so to be free of the bonds of birth and death. We learn to speak lovingly, to be affectionate, to care for others, to bring the roots of joy to many places, helping people release sorrow, respond with deep gratitude to the kindness of family, teachers, and friends. We vow to take our stand against oppression and injustice, to see with the eyes of interconnectedness as a brotherhood and sisterhood, flowing as a river together. With deep faith, we light up the incense of our heart. We ask the Buddha of compassion to be with us on the wonderful path. Friends, it is time to bring our hearts and minds upon the 47 human beings who died in the tragedy that we are here to honor and acknowledge this day. May their lives and their deaths prove to be a light, awaken all who need to be awakened to what is true and what is happening at this time on our earth. And so in this moment, we send the energy of loving kindness and compassion to the 47 individuals who passed. Please find your breath and enjoy your breathing for a moment, inviting those 47 individuals to be with us right here, right now. Breathing in together, breathing out together.